So it's all about getting clear, getting supercharged, and crushing your goals. That's what we're talking about. Now, one of the biggest questions, I was talking to my wife Melissa about this just now. She was actually coaching me on it. And she was saying about one of the questions she gets a lot, and I do as well, is about people who feel stuck when it comes to their goals. Because here's the thing, right? You know what you don't want. I think we're all pretty clear of the type of things we don't want in our life. We do not want more financial debt. We don't want another so-called failure or rejection. We don't want more fear in our life. We do not want more anxiety or worries or doubts. You name it. Any symptom that you're experiencing is probably one of those things that you'd really like to let go of. And that's in the forefront of your mind. I mean, you're very conscious of that. You're conscious of the type of things that you do not want. Now, if you know me, I've said this loads of times, if you focus on what you don't want, you'll begin to attract more of it, or at the very least, it'll be more present in your life because it becomes your main focus and attention. So when it comes to goals, we get very locked down of all the things what we don't want. And I get this all the time. I ask my clients, so how can I help you? And they say, well, I don't want anxiety anymore. And I say, okay, so if you don't want anxiety, what do you want? They go, well, I don't know. I just don't want anxiety. I don't want the fear or the stress. And automatically out of their mouth are all the things that they don't want. And we're geared up to that because we've been biologically trained to look out for the dangers around us or for all the things that we don't want. It's very primal. If we're thinking about what we don't want, it means we can try to prepare for that. It will mean that, like in the primal days, we've got to be aware of other tribes, animals, weather, you name it. We have to look out for everything. So we've been trained that way, our brain's been wired up to focus on what we don't want, and that's really locking us down. It's causing us to stay within the issue. Now, I don't know about you, but if you want something but you're focusing on what you don't want, it's very hard to get the clarity to move forward, to make certain steps, certain progression, whether it be achieving a monetary goal, whether it be getting the job that you want, the partner you want, the health that you want, the happiness that you want. All these things it's very hard to achieve if you're focusing on the things that you don't want. We know this. It's almost like if you're trying to do, if you're very high up and you're just focusing on don't look down or don't fall, don't fall, don't fall, that gets you more fearful. It definitely would to me. So we know why we do that. Like I said, it's a protection mechanism, and also because it's in our awareness. If we're experiencing it, it means we're feeling it. We're making the images in our mind. We're hearing the internal dialogue, and it's very hard to shift as to get to our goals and crush them. Like your outcome, just go ahead and hustle and get it. It's easier said than done, and especially when we have the symptoms in our mind, all the things that we don't want. So many people struggle with figuring out what they want, whether that be the career that they want or the type of goal that they want. They might even say, well, I just want to be rich or more abundant. But those things are usually very, very vague. And if we speak and think and feel in a very vague way, we're sending signals to our unconscious mind in that vague way. So we have to really learn to be crystal clear with the suggestions which we give ourselves. So yes, we could be giving them the suggestions for our symptoms, but we can also begin to give ourselves suggestions in a very vague way. Like, I want more money. Well, if someone gave you $1, now you've got more money and therefore you've achieved your goal. But you'll be thinking, well, no, I don't want just one more dollar. I want $1,000 or $2,000 and so on. But we get trapped in that real ambiguous and generalized of what we think what we want. So there's a number of things we have to do to get very clear in shifting ourselves away from symptoms, shifting ourselves to what we want, to then go ahead and get it, because we know wherever your attention goes, the energy flows. So we want to be able to flow in the right direction, rather what we're presently feeling holding us back. So what we have to consider is, the one question is, well, if I don't want this, what do I want? Okay, so you got to think about, if you did not have the issue or the symptom or the lack of the goal, what kind of thing would you actually want? Now, many people will even then say, I don't really know. So then what we have to do is focus on the feeling. You see, trying to come up with a construction of a type of goal that we want, it can be incredibly hard. But what we can do is figure out the feeling that we would like to experience more frequently. At the end of the day, we have to get the feeling that we want, because that's what we really want. I mean, the materialistic things that we want give us something. The relationships we're in give us an emotional feeling. The job that we want, or that we are presently in, whether we love or hate it, gives us a feeling. So rather focusing on what you don't want and then struggling to figure out the specific external thing that you do want, it's really important to focus on the feeling. If you did not have the issue, what feeling would you like to experience most? When we begin to experience that feeling, or at the very least have that in our mind, it will cause us to go more frequently into a flow state, a state which gives us more alignment to what we want. And I've always said this, and I'm going to keep on saying it and saying it and saying it and saying it, because it's true. Whatever you want wants you. We have to match that frequency. So if you're focusing on debt is going to get that into your life, because unconsciously that's what you're wanting if you're focusing on debt or the symptom. So we have to then focus on what we do want. When we focus on what we do want when it comes to the feelings will then begin to match up in your behavior. And that's the key. People try to focus on all the things that they can do, the doing behaviors, but really the doing behaviors come into existence from the feelings that we experience. So we have to focus on not what we don't want, but focus on what feeling would we like to experience most of the time. Now, if you want to figure out your purpose, by the way, you begin to figure out the type of feelings that you would like to experience throughout the day. So in your career, forget about the specific job. What kind of feelings would you like to experience? So you may write down a list of, I want to experience excitement, variety, love, passion, working with people, working inside, outside, and you begin to write down a list of a type of feelings or the values that you actually do want. So not necessarily the external thing, like the external job, but the values, your criteria as to how you know you're living a rich life because you're experiencing rich emotional freedom. So we have to consider not the external thing, but the type of feelings we would like to experience more consistently. Now, it doesn't mean that we're going to experience those straight away, because in a job situation, you might not have that job which hits any of those. It might be just one of those, which could be just money or security. But what we now have is a direction. We have a set of criteria as of a type of feelings or experiences emotionally and in your thoughts and so on that we can now begin to latch onto. That gives us far more clarity, and we can then figure out from there. I mean, there's a process, by the way. I don't expect you just to do it in a second. You take time out to consider what feelings you would like to experience, the type of values. So if you're stuck right now when it comes to, say, financial abundance, so you're focusing on debt, what kind of feelings would you like to experience? Maybe it'll be security. Maybe it'll be abundance in itself. Maybe it'll be feeling rich. or just freedom. You begin to get those feelings and that criteria on a piece of paper. And then you begin to expand on it. It's your goal to focus on your bliss. As you focus on your bliss and you look for that feeling inside of feeling inside of yourself, your brain will figure out more ways to experience just that. Now, what that means is we're no longer in the chasing game of a goal, because usually if we're trying to chase a goal or an outcome, we feel struggle and we feel overwhelmed, and the behaviors which we may do when we, for example, so-called fail, which is no such thing, it's just learning, by the way, but the behaviors we get caught up in. But if we begin to put our attention mainly on the feelings that we would like to experience most of the time, whether it be for your career, whether it be in your relationship, I mean, that's a great one. There was a great video I did the other day, and it was about communicating, and you can utilize it with this. You figure out and you consider what kind of feelings that you would like to experience in your relationship more often, and then you ask your partner now what kind of feelings that they would like to experience, and then you both work together to fulfill those type of feelings, or at the very least you radiate the feelings, and then you begin to create them far easier, and the behaviors will then flow. As I said, we usually get stuck on the symptom, or we get stuck on, because of the symptoms, of what we have to do, like the how. How do I have to do this? What has to happen? What steps can I take? Sometimes that can overwhelm us and it can trip us up straight away. So what we have to do instead is focus on the feeling behind that. Because at the end of the day, and I said this about 10 minutes ago now, the thing that you want, your goal, may be external. So it could be a physical thing, like materialistic things, or something external like an actual career or a job or a person, or even your physique in a certain way. These are external things. But when you experience those external things, it will, like if you were to achieve those, you would experience a feeling. Now that is what we're really after. Certain feelings. We're after experiences and things to do in our time to feel a certain way. So that rather going for the external thing, we want to be able to focus on the feeling that we would like to achieve. As I said, the good news about this, it takes away confusion, because you no longer really have to worry about trying to do everything possible to get what you want. Because if you start to experience and have the feelings that you want in your mind more consistently, and it's your job to focus on the feelings, and if you're struggling with that, put in some uplifting music, or all the things you've written down, you think of a kind of music which evokes that emotional state, or a movie, or you hang around with people with the type of states that you want. For me personally, I love hanging around with inspirational people, business people, entrepreneurial people, because I love that feeling. I love helping people, and I want to be around people providing service. Or I'm very interested, like I said, in entrepreneurial things. I surround myself with entrepreneurs because I'm then beginning to experience the type of feelings that they experience, because I'm in their environment. So we have to allow not the doing of, but really the type of feelings that we would like to experience. So forget about the doing. Forget about the symptoms for a moment. I know it's hard, but consider not what I don't want, not the things or the doing things what I have to do, but the feelings that I would like to experience. If you focus on the feelings, not only are you radiating those feelings, so your brain begins to look for it. Because your brain will look for whatever you're focusing on, and absolutely whatever you're feeling. It becomes I was going to say a virus, but it doesn't sound very good, but it becomes like contagious to your mind and body to look for more of those feelings, because it feels so good. And when you think about doing good for other people, it's a great first shift, really, because if you're doing good for other people, and that's why someone asked me earlier, I can't quite remember the words, but where do I get my inspiration from? It's because the feelings that I get back from you guys, your feedback, the reviews on my apps, my podcast, seeing my podcast rise into like the top 10, 20 in America for self-help, all those things, it blows my mind and it fills me up with inspiration that I cannot wait to get on live. Even though this is my free time, I love it. And you got to consider what type of feelings that you would like to experience, that if you could just feel that all the time. I know we can't always feel that way. Maybe we can, who knows? But life happens, things happen. But we do have a conscious thought, idea, set of things that we can do inside of ourselves, whether it be turning on inspirational music, watching videos, hopefully like this one, or my other videos, or my podcasts. And I'm pushing out about 5 podcasts, I think, a week very soon, because I'm getting the good quality version of this onto there, so you can keep on listening to this. The more you do that, the more good feelings you get. As you do that, you begin to radiate it. You begin to become it. And you remember yesterday, if you're on live, I said, usually we try to change our environment. So if something's not going right, we will go, I'm going to just quit that job and go to another one because I don't want to experience those negative feelings. But I said, actually, above environment is your behaviors, the things that you do there, and above that is your capabilities, and above that is your belief systems. So your belief systems dictate, which is almost like your identity. Identity is a bit higher, but let's just, for simplicity, say your beliefs, your values, the feelings, which I just said, what's important to you, actually dictate how much potentiality you have on the lower level of your capabilities. Empowering beliefs, empowering feelings changes your capabilities. Absolutely factual, because think about all these athletes, all these pros who are immense at what they do, but they also have out of form moments. They still have the capabilities, but they're not fulfilling it because maybe they have self-doubt, or they've had one miss and suddenly they're focusing on all the things they don't want. It spirals out of control. But they have the capability, but the belief is changing it, or the values, the feelings that you're experiencing are changing it. So we have to then, with the feelings and our values, goes down into your capability, it transforms your behavior, and it just flows into your environment. And that is why I say focus on ultimately the type of feelings that you would like to experience most of the time. When you do that, you are tuning into what you want most, and I believe the world will provide that into return. You have to conspire in your favor by experiencing the feelings that you want in order for the world to conspire in your favor. I'm a really big believer in that. You've got to make things happen first, and I believe things will come back in tenfold in your favor. And if we start to experience the feelings, it then taps us into what we want, and what we want gets attracted into our life. If we experience the type of feelings that we want, or we have that in our mind, it will generate behaviors, like I said, values, feelings, identity goes into your capabilities and your behaviors and in your environment. So it will change how you act and react in any situation. And in fact, here's the thing. When you're experiencing the feelings that you would like to experience most, it's what we call the flow state. When you're just flowing. Like right now, I like to think I'm flowing. I'm just like tapping into what I'm passionate about, what I'm excited about. I mean, I'm loving this right now. But so when I'm feeling this, I feel that flow and things are just coming to me. And when I'm doing my work, I'm radiating that, and I'm just feeling the feelings that I want to feel most of the time. And that's why I'm doing what I'm doing. And it's allowed me to have this platform. And that's nothing about me. I mean, I was a dropout of college and all those things. I was very slow at school. However, when I began to just become consciously aware of, actually, I'm focusing on all the things I don't want, wouldn't it be better to focus on the feelings that I would want? And then that will cause my behaviors to change, my thinking to change. Like I said, put on some inspirational music, surround yourself with audios and videos, surround yourself with someone who can help you, or people that can help you in a group, or people in your life, whatever it is. Seek out those people who are like how you want to be. We can do so many things, and those feelings will cause you to be focused in what you want, and I believe your behaviors will then come into practice. The how to get to your goal will begin to happen, but you will never come up with the strategy of how to achieve your goal if you're focusing all the things that you don't want, or when someone asks you, say for example, asks you, what do you want? And you go, well, I don't want this. When you do that, you're staying stuck. You're in the stuck state. We have to tap into the flow state. When we begin to flow, we will begin to attract, and we begin to attract those people, those things, those opportunities. And this is not woo-woo la-la stuff, and I love that stuff. However, what it is, it's just the brain. This is not anything complicated. This is your brain figuring out a new way. When you give it the right suggestions, it will cause you to experience the feelings that you want. Your suggestions become your evaluations for life. So if you're suggesting to yourself all the things that you don't want, or being in the stuck state of, I don't know what to do, how do I do this, I'm stuck, I'm experiencing procrastination, all those things, when you're focusing that becomes your evaluations of your present situation. That never works. However, when we begin to suggest, and by suggest in this example today, the type of feelings that you want. So forget about the goal. And if you have the goal in mind, this will supercharge it, by the way. If you have, say, a monetary goal of getting $10,000 a month, $5,000 a month, $2,000, whatever it is, if you have that in your mind, that goal may not be very powerful. And I'll tell you why. Because it's just a number. Or the type of person that you want in your life, it's not going to be beneficial because it's just a person. It's an idea in your mind. Focus on the feelings behind the person. The type of feelings that you would like to experience in a relationship. The type of feelings you want to experience in your job. The type of feelings that you want to experience if you were to have the abundance of money. When you focus on the feelings, then the goal will get supercharged. If you're not aware exactly how you want to be or the type of goal that you want, then just focus on the feelings anyway, and then that will happen. That's where you'll get the clarity. All my good ideas come from when that flow state, when I'm just experiencing what I'm experiencing, the type of feelings I want to experience, whether it be going for a run, whether it be writing, recording, speaking right now, that is where my feelings come, because that lights me up. And I hope you can tell, by the way, I hope you can tell that I'm very passionate about this. I'm very passionate about you. And that's why I love doing these free live videos for you and my podcast and everything else I'm trying to get out there. We have to experience, or at the very least, put our attention onto the feelings that we would like to experience most of the time. Then the behaviors will come. You remember I said it's like the pyramid. Experience the values, the identity, that is what as well, the values. But just let's focus on. We'll be talking for hours if we do this, because I could really break down many ways. But experience on the type of feelings that you want. Those feelings will then transform your capabilities, which will then go into your behaviors and then into your environment. But right now, most of us will be focusing on the environment because in the environment, we're experiencing certain symptoms in our mind, that present state, all those things. We're experiencing that. We have to take a step back, write down on a piece of paper the type of feelings that you would like to experience maybe in your career. Or if you were to think about the type of thing you would like to do all the time, maybe the type of feelings it will give you will be creativity, maybe freedom, working outside, as I said, working inside, working with animals, working with people, working with entrepreneurs, whatever it is, we write that down and the feelings which that will get you. When you write down the feelings, you will then get a clearer path as to the type of job that you want. If you want a better relationship, or you want a new relationship, whatever it is, you consider the type of feelings that you do want, and then you express those with your partner and you figure out what they want. If you want a new relationship, you figure out the type of qualities and the feelings that you would like to experience in attracting a relationship, getting a relationship, then the behaviors will happen. You will be in tune. Your brain will be looking out for the right person. It might not be how you want it, because life is weird like that. But I do believe that it will provide you with what you want most, but usually we focus on what we don't want. We need to focus on the type of feelings that we do want, and then our brain will look out for opportunities to make that happen. Is that good? I hope that was good. I hope that was of value today, guys. We're at the 32-minute mark now, so I'm going to pretty much leave it here. I try to keep these to about half hour at the most. I'm going to be here tomorrow, which will be 5:30 Central Time America, which is 11:30 at night in England, and 6:30 in the East Coast, and 3:30 on the West Coast of America. So I really hope you enjoy that. Let me know what you think. Write a comment. And let's do something really cool. Write down in the comments the type of feelings that you would like to experience most. I want to read the comments, and I want to see the type of feelings that you would like to experience most. Where it be, you don't have to tell me the category of life. I think it's good to be general sometimes, especially in this example. And I bet you'll notice that many of us will have the same type, because we're simple like that. It happens. But when we get clear on it, we can refine it, go deeper on it, and then figure out what external thing fills that criteria, while compared to just going aimlessly into the world, going for something and realizing we didn't want it in the first place, actually, because it didn't fulfill our criteria. Have you ever noticed that? You really want something and then you get it and you're like, actually, it doesn't really give me what I wanted. We have to tap into the feelings. That will cause you to crush goals. That will get you your purpose. That will get the relationship, the monetary goals. That will light up your life. That will allow you to be the way you want.